So if you're someone who feels like it's the same people watching my stories, the same people interacting, it's likely that you are not going out there and actively networking, building new relationships. When you are working hard from the right energy, to me, that's not going to create burnout.
Welcome to the High Vibe Life podcast, where we are obsessed with all things manifestation, neuroscience, personal growth, and quite simply, living a life beyond our wildest dreams. I'm Moira Casava, author, speaker, podcaster, manifestation, and mindset master. Since getting sober 25 years ago, I've helped tens of thousands of women break through and achieve massive levels of wealth, joy, and freedom. Now it's your turn. Let's dig in. Welcome back to the High Vibe Life podcast with me, Moira Casava. I've got a good friend and expert in the house today, Rachael Bodie. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Moira. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, you're a social selling expert. Everybody wants to know everything inside your brain. So I have so many questions, but before we dig into that nitty gritty, do you want to just kind of give me a little bit of a background about how you truly became one of the best experts in the industry and kind of the backstory to that?
Yeah. And thanks for sharing that. So I actually started my career in leadership development and consulting. And I was working for a guy called John Maxwell, which I know a lot of you all are familiar with. He's written over 100 books on leadership.
Yeah.
And started working for John. And I was with him for close to a decade and a half.
Wow.
And it was great before I had kids, right? The travel and being able to go all over the world. I was leading our global consulting division. So I would go in and build out leadership development programs for the executive teams and the entire organization for companies like Coke and Microsoft and Chick-fil-A. And so it was powerful, meaningful work. It was exciting. But then once I had my first baby, it started getting a little off kilter. And then I got pregnant again when I had a 7-month-old. And after I had the second baby, that's when the wheels kind of started coming off. And it was a lot.
That is a lot.
I think it's the reason why a lot of women, decide to pursue social selling is you may have this incredible job and maybe you're making great money, but you want that freedom.
Yeah, absolutely. So you got into the industry, you had 2 little babies at home. Did you just dive all in with that? I'm sure I know you, so I do know this about you, but that crazy work ethic and that hunger for success. And was it just off to the races? So yes and no. I think that's such a great question. I think, I wanted to dive all in, but I also, it's just so fascinating, right? Because even though I had a really successful consulting career, I think for so many of us, that imposter syndrome, I was afraid of what if I do this and I can't do it? What if I fail? I knew nothing about social media. Yeah. I posted twice a year, on Facebook, the obligatory Christmas and Easter posts. So I had that fear. So I was a little apprehensive when I first kind of started, I'd say my first couple of weeks. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go all in. So I talked to my upline, what do I need to do in order to, create 6 figures as quickly as possible so that I could replace my income and quit my job. And so I did. I went all in and I was able to create full-time income my first year, working part-time hours, and of course, working full-time in consulting. Yeah. That was a lot because I had a 4 and 3-year-old at the time. And then my husband was a partner at KPMG. So he was traveling internationally. We both were traveling internationally. Wow. So I always share that because I think a lot of us want the freedom. And then we sometimes are I don't have the time. And it's you can find you find the time, you create the time and you plan for it. Yeah. And that's what I did. And that second year I hit 6 figures and was able to retire from my job that year, which it was bittersweet because, it was my family for a long time, but, that freedom was it was everything. Our mantra as a family, when I told my husband, hey, this is what I want to do, we created this mantra and it was Freedom 2019.
That was when we were going to quit the job. And I went to my first convention and we moved that timeline up by a year. So I actually quit my job in December 2017.
Wow. That's amazing. You just said so many things, Rachael. I feel like one of the biggest ones that people might gloss over is that decision.
Yes.
Okay, so there's this moment for you. You said it's 2 weeks in. Mine was about 3 months in. It's that moment of decision, right? Where you're scared, you're fearful. What are people going to say about me? I don't know what the heck I'm doing. Imposter syndrome. And you make a decision to pick up the phone, which I did as well. And I said, listen, I'm going all in. If I'm going to do this, I'm not dipping my toe. I'm ready to jump. And you and I both had very similar experiences where we did all the things and probably then some, and therefore had success. So here's my question. I feel like there's so many people in this space that are showing up consistently, that are trying to check all the boxes, but they're not seeing results. What do you think is missing for them? How can they shift out of that?
Oh yeah, that's an excellent question. And it's one that I get actually pretty frequently. It's like,
on the daily.
I'm doing all the things, but it's not working. So I think there are two components here when someone's telling me they're doing all the things. Number one, it could be that maybe that's actually not true. Mm-hmm. And I think self-deception is a powerful thing. We can really sell ourselves on something.
Yes.
And sometimes we feel like we're doing all the things because we're doing a lot of passive action.
Yep.
Things like, I call it procrastinating, doing all the trainings, right?
A
hallmark of one of my most successful clients, 6 and 7 figure network marketers, is they are action takers.
Yeah.
They're implementers. They learn and do. Mm-hmm. So that, I think, is a big thing, is this: you feel like you're doing all the things, but you're actually maybe missing core elements of filling your funnel. That's probably, I would say, for most people who haven't maybe hit that 6-figure mark yet, that's typically what I see is they're missing a critical component of filling the funnel. What I mean is, when you think of a funnel, and I'm actually, for those, I'm doing this with my hands, I'm doing a funnel shape, right? So if you imagine a funnel, at the very top, you've got to be consistently adding new people to your network, meeting new people, starting new conversations. So if you're someone who feels like it's the same people watching my stories, mm-hmm. it's the same people interacting, it's likely that you are not going out there and actively networking,
right?
Building new relationships. So that's the first piece. The second piece is adding value. And we hear a lot about that. And it's what does that even mean? So really, there's two components to adding value. One is you add value through the content that you share, on your grid, your feed, and in your stories. But on the other side, and this is really, really important, you're adding value through having conversations, personal, private conversations, building relationships. Otherwise, you're just out on social media, with a megaphone, shouting out to everyone, right? It's that both and component that's really key.
Yes.
And then the bottom of the funnel, so we're meeting people, new people, we're adding value to them, we're building know, like, and trust, we're nurturing our audience. And at the bottom, then we actually have to make a powerful, compelling offer to help them. Right? You have a problem, I have the solution. The solution is the product or the business opportunity.
Right.
So usually what I see again, this is more for someone who hasn't quite hit that full-time income to 6 figures, is they're missing one of those components.
That is so good and so simple. 1, 2, 3.
Right. That's what I love about it, is so often we make it mean I suck and I'm terrible and I'm not cut out for this and what am I doing wrong? And it's it's very simple.
Yeah.
You're likely missing one of these core components. Now, just to kind of backtrack, I said there's kind of two sides to the coin. For my more seasoned network marketers, sometimes I see that they are not doing one of the things because maybe they have grown complacent, which I get. If you've been in business for any amount of time, I think sometimes you get tired.
Yeah.
Right. But the thing that I see with a lot of them is it is the mindset component,
right?
The belief component. Like you can be doing all of the things, but if you're doing those things and you're thinking, nobody wants this, it's not working, my company isn't a solid company, I'm not a good leader. If you're believing those thoughts, the energy that you're going to be showing up with is graspy, inadequate, anxious.
Yes.
And it's very challenging to create a high level of results when you don't have that deep belief in self, that deep belief in your product and the business opportunity, and that deep belief in those people who you're serving, that they want what you have and they're ready to do the work to overcome the obstacles to create results.
Oh, you just hit the nail on the head, like so spot on. And so that actually leads me to my next question. I'll share this though. I always share what I consider the abundance formula. It's exactly what you just said. So it's action plus attraction, meaning that energy, that vibe, that belief, that fire, right? When you have the energy and the action, like you're just limitless. So you talked about maybe the like ick factor, right? Yeah. There's so many people out there. I think I would argue it's 80 to 90% of social sellers don't want to sell, but we're in a social selling industry.
Right, exactly.
How do you help people have that mindset shift from, I don't want to be salesy, I don't want to be pushy, to truly being able to be magnetic?
Yeah, that's a great question too. So a couple things. Well, I think the easiest way to make that shift, I think this goes back to the belief component. This is why I think it's so critical that you align with the products and you have a personal experience with the products in your company. Because for me, it's very natural. For most people, not just me, for most people, that's why I love social selling, right? You're already telling people about your favorite lip gloss or your Lululemon leggings.
Right.
Right. But when you join a company, a social selling company, you're able to monetize that.
Yeah.
So when you have a deep belief in the product and experience with that, and you are a product of the product, I think it becomes much easier to be like, hey, this is something that helped me. I don't want to gatekeep and not share this with someone else. So that's part one. But part two is, I think we really have to have a shift in the story that we tell ourselves around, like, I don't want to be salesy. Like, it's not even about you. I actually think it's manipulative to not share, because then you take away that person's opportunity to decide. Like, right? Who are we to say if this person may or may not be able to benefit from either the product or the business opportunity? I mean, but look at us, you and I, we were both very successful businesswomen in our own right. And nobody ever invited me. Well, actually, that's not true. Some people did invite me at the John Maxwell. Sorry, can we just edit for a quick second?
We don't need to edit for puppies on this podcast ever.
Okay, okay.
We love puppies.
Yes, we're in full on puppy mode here.
I am like dog obsessed, so it's all good.
I am too. Okay, good. These are my people here.
Yes. So no one ever sold to you at the John Maxwell event.
Oh yes, I was saying nobody ever invited you to the business opportunity, like prospected me, except when I would go to events with John. He would speak at these big, network marketing events. Sometimes people there would try and prospect me, but it was like, that did feel very icky because they were the way they approached me was not the way to do it. Right. It was very aggressive. And so I think it goes back to not prejudging people too. And you just don't know, right? Like social media and what people share. I wasn't sharing online that I was about to have a nervous breakdown.
Right. Absolutely.
So, you have to think about what you have to offer and how it's benefited you in all the ways. Yeah. What are all the blessings of your products, of the business opportunity, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, travel-wise, all of the different ways.
Yes.
And with that in mind, think about you're not pushing something on someone. You are selling them on what's possible for them. Yes.
Well, this is such a fun topic because I love talking two audiences about this. But Rachael, you said something and it like jumped off the screen at me. And I was like, I've never thought about it that simply. So of course you and I have the same belief. Like it needs to be about them, not about you. But when you said, quote, I don't want to be salesy, that's it right there. Where's the focus? It's all about me.
Yes.
I don't want to be salesy. How am I going to be perceived? Right out of the gate, you're literally saying the word I, and that's the shift that needs to be made to you, to them.
Yeah, it's not about you. It's not even about us. And I think that's what's so beautiful about what we do and social selling as an industry. You know, all these people have there's this outdated narrative. It's like, oh, this is predatory and this, that, and the other thing, and you're take advantage. No, it's about serving people, helping them get results with products. And then if they decide, helping them build a business where they can create options, freedom, flexibility, growth.
Yeah. Well, and some of the best leaders in the world have grown out of this industry. Some of the greatest thought leaders in the world. And you just said it, it's like such an old narrative, but think about the legal profession. There's some shady lawyers out there, right? We all know that.
Yes.
But it doesn't mean you don't become a lawyer because it's your passion and you want to help people and you want to, defend people and have justice be seen. It's the same thing for us. It's like we want to be able to pass on this beautiful gift of teaching women, for you and I, to build financial freedom. Just like you said, Freedom 2019, right? Which ended up being Freedom 2017. It's such a beautiful industry that really is so perfect, especially for driven women that also want to be home with their babies.
Totally. And just to kind of add on to that, for me personally, even though I had a lot of success in consulting, now this is where you and I are different because you had a business background. You actually were an entrepreneur. I didn't view myself as an entrepreneur. And this is why I love this industry. It was the launch pad for me in developing the confidence and belief in myself that I had what it took to build a business.
Yeah.
One of my colleagues at John Maxwell, he said to me once, you'd be an amazing CEO. And I'm like, me? I couldn't be a CEO. And, fast forward 10 years and scaling, multiple businesses to over 7 figures. It's just, if not for this industry and of course, all the mentors and coaches, I wouldn't have the freedom that I have today.
Yeah.
And not just the freedom, but the purpose too.
And the belief and the confidence and the skill set, it's literally warp speed on the professional path. If you go all in, I would say.
Oh, 100%. There's not even a contest.
Yeah. If you had told me, I mean, it's funny because I do a lot of speaking now and I'll speak to, I'm in conversations with keynote speakers and I always tell the story because they're like, is this your lifelong passion? I'm like, no, speaking was like my biggest fear in life. And I always say God has a funny sense of humor because my first speaking engagement was in front of over 20,000 people in the Superdome. And they're all like, how did you land that? And I was like, I was in the network marketing industry. Like in what world are you put in front of 22,000 people and told like, you got it, just go crush it?
Yeah, very unusual.
Yeah.
Coming from that world, right? John Maxwell events, keynote speakers, very unusual to start off with that kind of crowd.
Right. But that's why we say it's the fast track. So here's a question that I know people are dying to know. I get it because I would say I'm an Enneagram 3 workaholic by nature.
Me too. Of course we're both Enneagram 3.
Of course. And I've had to really learn how to manage that so it doesn't, completely get my life out of balance. So how people that really want to stand out on social media, that they really want to create that influence, how can they do that without burnout, number one?
Okay.
And then I want to pivot into the do we niche down question.
Okay. All right. So I always say a couple things. I guess that's one of my I realize I keep saying that, but there always is a couple things, right? Because there are there's nuance to this question.
Yeah.
So the first thing that I would say is, of course, you don't want to burn yourself out. I will say, if you are someone who is in the process of scaling, building to full-time income or building to that first 6 figures, and you're working a job, it's going to be a season of hustle. Now, I think hustle gets a bad rap.
Totally agree.
Okay, cool. So
totally agree.
What you were saying before, I love your abundance equation. You said action plus action and attraction. Is that what you said? Okay. So this is kind of similar. It's like when you are working hard from the right energy, to me, that's not going to create burnout. What creates burnout is when you are working hard from a place of scarcity, fear, desperation, like the energy that you show up and do the work with, that is what creates the burnout, in my opinion.
Yes.
And I think it's required, especially in the beginning. It's like if you think about getting a flywheel going on a bike, right? In the beginning, it's like you're really trying to, and then it's kind of going on its own.
Yes.
John Maxwell used to call it momentum, the great exaggerator, because it starts picking up and takes on a life of its own. So that's the first piece that I would say, is that there's going to be a season where you probably are working harder than maybe you've ever worked, because you're doing something that's new. Now, for those who are more seasoned and who want to be able to stand out and continue to scale without burnout, I think it's really critical that you're intentional with your time.
Yeah.
And the way that I do that is I have a process that I use each week to manage my time and tell my time where I want it to go in advance. So what that looks like is I start with the most important priorities. And that is my time with the Lord. Mm-hmm. That is my time for myself, moving my body.
Yes.
That is time with my family, like Friday night, Mexican night is kind of a staple in the Bodie house.
I love it.
Yeah, it's those core elements that go on the calendar. It's, sometimes it's travel, soccer, and, all those kind of things, that all that goes on my calendar. Mm-hmm. Now I'm looking to see, okay, what are the non-negotiables on here that I have that are reoccurring weekly client calls, or maybe you have a job that you have to put on your calendar, 9 to 5. So you have that all on there. Now you can start scheduling in your business hours. And this is a big thing that I see with seasoned network marketers. I did this too. You start to prioritize your team and your personal business takes a back seat. Yes. And then if you do that long enough, eventually you will hit a slump because you stop filling your personal funnel.
Yes.
So I would say for a lot of you, again, my seasoned network marketers, to prioritize fill your cup personally. What are those things? Then time block your personal business first, and communicate that with your team. Let them know, hey, I'm going to be restructuring how I'm doing my business. I will be checking messages after this time.
Yes.
The setting boundaries. The boundaries are so key. For example, I don't work on the weekends anymore at all.
Isn't that amazing?
It's so good, but it's such a slippery slope, right? Because you do it once, and then especially for those of us who are more prone to enjoy work over work. I think having that hard and fast boundary to where, because if you do it once, you can set a precedent. So I think you want to be able to teach your team that, hey, this is the way that we're going to do business. And it models for them that you don't have to burn out. If you're pulling your hair out because you're exhausted, that is not going to model the kind of business that the women and men potentially on your team want to create.
Yeah. I completely, of course, agree with you. I think we're sharing a brain. The sacrifice years of that hustle, I don't regret for a split second. I would never go back and do it differently. For me, I believe that I had to do that to build the foundation of a 7-figure business so I could pivot into a place where I control my time a lot more.
Yeah.
And so I hope that we're giving people a picture that it can shift in the long run, which is the beautiful part of this.
That's it.
So here's the $1 million question, and we'll kind of wrap with this. And I know there's definitely 2 sides to this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Too niche.
I already know where we're headed on this one.
Too niche or not too niche?
That is the question, huh? So This is a really interesting question because I have multiple 7-figure clients, some that niche, uber niche, and others that not so much.
Right.
And let me even explain even what that means.
Yes.
So all niching is a lead generation strategy. Okay. So what that means is when you niche down and you speak to a specific person with a specific problem, that allows you to generate leads, to attract leads to you because you are speaking to that person. So when you're out there sharing on Instagram or Facebook, you are attracting that person to you because you're talking about things that he or she is into.
Yep.
So that's niching in a nutshell.
Yeah.
So I have a couple clients right now who are killing it, and they are super niche down and sharing the majority of their content is, I would call it conversion or sales content, both around their product and then also the business opportunity. I would say heavily on their grid and their Facebook wall. I would say it's more product with the business opportunity sprinkled in. And then of course in stories, it's a combination of behind the scenes with a daily call to action, whether that's for the product or the business opportunity.
Can you give me, not that we know who these people are, you're not sharing names, like an example of niching down for a client of yours?
Yeah, 100%. And then I want to share on the opposite end so I can talk to both people. And because really what I want to communicate here is there's no one right way. Yeah. There's the way that you make right.
Right.
This is really important because there's so many gurus and people out there that are going to tell you this is the way to do it. But I can attest that I have lots of different clients. I have a sold out practice right now of, 6 and 7 figure social sellers who are doing things a lot of different ways. The key is that they have a system, and that's a system they've committed to. And it's a system that they take action, they apply it, and then we evaluate what's working, what's not working, what are we going to do differently?
Right.
And it goes back to what you said. I love this. I will credit you, of course, but this abundance formula, I love this. It's their action plus attraction. So it's their energy behind what they're doing.
Yes.
They like it. It feels good to them, and it's creating results.
Yes, yes, yes.
So to give you an example, so niching down would be, let's say that you have a health and wellness product. And so, these clients are sharing hey, this was my problem. Gosh, or, I was 35 pounds overweight. I was doing all the things. I was, doing the workouts and counting macros, but no matter what I did, I just could not lose this weight. Enter this product. Now I have the energy to be with my kids and I'm not snapping at my spouse and I'm down 35 pounds and I've kept it off for X amount of years, or X amount of months. And so they're sharing this kind of core story. I call it a brand story. Yeah. And a brand story, of course, is just, here's my before or my old normal. Yes. Then I started using the product and then there's this explosion into a new normal. This is your after.
Gotcha.
That's all, and that's what
super
we're doing
simple.
In marketing, right? It is very simple. It's just that we're selling a transformation. We're telling our story so that other people out there can see our story and think, wow, you know what? She's just like me. She had the same problems and look at her now. If she can do it, I can do it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's an example of
I love that.
Yeah. What I call super niche down. Yeah. And then I'd say I have a lot of clients, and this was kind of more my approach to where instead of being so heavily niche, they are still niche down. They are still talking to a specific person. But I'd say 70 to 80% of their content is not what I call conversion content. Yeah. So it's not heavy calls to action. It maybe it's personal brand content.
Right.
So they're sharing about their dogs, their dog life. They're sharing about their fashion. They're sharing about what podcasts they're reading, their weighted vest, high protein. They're sharing other things that will add value to their person. Right. That aren't necessarily things that they're going to monetize, but they're meant to build trust.
Yes. I love that.
That's my preference. That feels more organic. And I'd say the super niche down accounts are more of the anomaly now in terms of what I see working on social. I see like a pretty significant shift back to more personal brand content.
Yeah. I love that. I love that you're not saying you got to do it this way. and that you're truly working with people that are having wild success doing it different ways. So really the question becomes, what feels more aligned for you?
That's it. Because when you are working a business that's aligned, you have joy, you have more ease.
Yes.
And that creates sustainability, because that's the goal, right? This is something that you want to be able to do long term.
Yeah, absolutely. And that becomes harder. Not that you can't pivot niches, but it becomes harder to talk about one teeny tiny thing for years, right? Oh, that's so good, Rachael.
I just want to say, that is such a great point, what you just shared there. And I think the beautiful thing, talking about pivoting, when you are really sharing you as the brand, it makes it so much easier to pivot, right? Like you're a great example of that. Yeah. You talk about your sobriety. You do talk about the dog life, and there's so many different elements of what you shared in your journey. Yeah. That the pivot. I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but you've had a lot of success, and my hunch is this probably was a lot easier for you because you weren't branding your company.
Right, and it was just natural, right? It's like whatever I'm passionate about, whatever I'm building, whatever I'm into is just what I'm sharing. So it became. Right. It's always been a very natural kind of extension of my life versus more calculated, which again, calculated isn't wrong. We're not saying that's wrong. It's just different.
100%.
Just different. So is there anything, well, tell us this. I was going to say, is there anything you can leave us with? But really, can you leave us with, where do we find you? How do we connect with you? How do people work with you?
Yeah, love that. So my favorite place to hang out is Instagram. So you can find me over there. It's at Rachael Bodie, and my name is spelled a little weird. It's RACHAEL BODIE. So you can find me over on Instagram. And then I also have a free community on Facebook where I do weekly live trainings, and that is a give back to our industry and the community. I love doing those. And they are geared towards a combination of beginners and also industry leaders. So awesome. Those are the best places to find me. Yeah. And in terms of working together, so I'm sold out in my practice. I'm very blessed.
Love that for you.
Yeah, until the end of the year. But I am doing and offering one-on-one intensives. So these are strategy sessions where we go deep on anything from marketing systems, so text marketing, email marketing, building out onboarding, building out mentoring. And so I've been doing those as a way to continue to connect and serve while I am at full capacity.
I love that so much. I would tell you, I mean, I've worked with Rachael. I've had her come to retreats, top notch, like game changer. I've also seen you shift people at the 7-figure level to allow them to continue to grow. It's been so incredible to watch your work and your influence in people's lives. And we'll link the Facebook group in the show notes and everything, so they have direct links. But Rachael, thank you for being here and sharing all your knowledge and wisdom.
My pleasure. I mean, the feeling's mutual. So appreciate you and love the work that you're doing too.
Oh, it's been so fun. You guys, make sure you share this episode on your Instagram. Tag Rachael, tag me. We'd love to hear from you. And we will see you guys next week.